Well, happy Friday, everyone. You know what that means? Another live lawn care Q&A. My name is Ron Henry, and I am here to help answer your lawn care questions. Now, if this is the first time you're joining the show, welcome. We're super happy to have you here. The way it works is really simple. Now, on your screen, you will see a box. And in that chat box, you can enter your question, concern, comment of the day, and I work through them in the order that they come in. Now, sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not, but either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care and sometimes live topics. We're coming to you guys tonight live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. So those of you guys that are tuning in on Instagram, again, you're not going to see the main broadcast, but feel free to ask any questions or participate as much as you can, and I'll make sure you guys are part of the show as much as I possibly can, because I want everybody to feel included, even though if you're on that other platform, you can still participate in the show. Well, guys, it's been a busy week. It's been an interesting week. You guys know from last week I had some trials. There were some difficulties in the lawn. There were some challenges. Mole came in and decided he wanted to take up residency, and I had other plans. So as we get through later in the show, I'll tell you guys what happened. Some of you guys already know. If you've been following the channel, you know already. But I'm gonna share some pictures with you, explain my process behind getting the result that we got to, and hopefully it'll be some information that'll help you guys if you're dealing with moles or other varmints in your lawn. All right, so let's see what we have in the live stream this evening. We got Kevin Sheehan up here. He says, "Hey, all, looking forward to a relaxing stream." I'll do my best, Kevin. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you as always. And next up, we got Mr. Jason Harrison. He says, "Happy Friday. Maybe not so much for the mole, but it wanted the smoke." It did, man. Here's the thing. If you've ever dealt with a mole in your lawn, within a couple of days left unchecked, they can totally turn your lawn into a construction zone. Looks like, like you're laying new sod, or it can absolutely ruin, an otherwise great looking lawn. I've only had to deal with 2 moles so far in 9-ish years or so that I've been here, and you know, 2 and now 0. So now we're down. We'll see if any more come back. But I'll tell you guys exactly what I did, how I went about it here a little bit later in the show. But yeah, it was not a relaxing week up until we eliminated Mr. Marquise, as we'll call him, Marquise the Mole. That's the name we've decided. I was chatting with the guys and gals in the Golf Course Lawn Academy, the private Facebook group, and that's the name we came up with. You know, Marquise being the villain, the bad guy in John Wick 4. So we figured starts with an M2. It's a good name for a mole. So that's his name. And as you guys, if you've ever watched the movie, you ever watched John Wick, you know that in the end, you know, Marquise thought he had the upper hand. He wanted that smoke, only to get what he was after. So, all right. So let's see what else we got going on here. We got Nathan D here. He says hello from Signal Mountain, Chattanooga. What's going on, Nathan? Thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. Appreciate you. Los saying, hey, everybody. What's going on, Los? Thank you for taking some time out of your busy Friday night to come hang out with us and talk about lawn care and other things. Stephen Thompson is up next. He says, happy Friday, Ron. Have you noticed a difference in color of Bermuda when it goes dormant? I believe that there are areas that I believe are Tifway are the normal tan tint, and areas I think are common have a purplish tint to it. Yeah, so I have seen that, Stephen. What you'll find is that will be apparent whenever the lawn is transitioning. Once it goes fully dormant, it should all get that nice tan color. You know, it should even out fairly nicely. Like when I did a comparison video of Tifway 419 and Arden 15, there was a series that I filmed probably 3 years ago at this point in the fall, where every week I showed how the lawn was changing as it was transitioning into dormancy. And you had some areas that were completely dormant, like the Tifway, and you had some areas that were the Arden 15 that were taking a lot longer to fall off, and the color between those areas was different. So I'll get that playlist for you. I'll link it here for you in the chat. You can check it out. But yes, it's completely normal. Once the lawn goes completely dormant, you should see everything become tan. So yeah, it's nothing to be concerned about. It's yeah, completely normal, especially when you have different cultivars in the same lawn. Something else that can also influence that as well, Stephen, is if you have areas that are getting more light. So say you even have the same grass type, right? But you have areas that are getting more sunlight, more heat. So what I tend to find is near the house, near patios, near like concrete patios, areas where like light and heat just tend to stay on the grass a little bit longer than areas that are further out. Like those areas fall off or go into dormancy later. They tend to hold on to the color a bit longer than areas that are kind of out in the middle of nowhere with no heat radiating to them. So that's another thing you might be seeing as well. I think I have a playlist for that series of the Tifway 419 versus Arden 15. If not, I will I'll just look up the video here and you can just watch the entire thing. But it's like 10 or so videos, I believe, in it. Let's see here. Arden 15. Yep, here we go. Versus, yeah, Tifway. Here it is. Yep, this is it. So I'm going to let's see if we can find the first one for you. And that will get you on your way. Yeah, there we go. Week 1. Cool. So start here and just keep watching if you're so interested, and you'll be able to see how what I've experienced in my lawn in years past. In the last few years, it goes dormant a lot more even. But the first year, whenever there really were 2 types of grass in the lawn, is when you really saw the difference. So here is the Arden 15 versus Tifway series. All right. And it's like, I think it's like 10 videos. So feel free to check that out. Appreciate it. Next up, we have, yeah, so Stephen's saying a tint to them. Next up, we have Higy Pop. He says, happy Friday, Ron. Zap that critter. Let's go. Yeah, I did, man. He said, let's also hit the like button. I appreciate that, guys. So we got 50 people here in the live stream. I realize it's like Christmas time. It's the time of year when people are winding down, maybe not hanging out on the internet nearly as much. Definitely not into lawn care nearly as much. So I realize we've got a little bit lower attendance. But if you guys would not mind hitting that like button ever so gently, I'd really appreciate it. It costs absolutely nothing. It's a free way to support the channel. It warms my heart, and you know what? I'll even put on some some music for you. You know, I'll even do that while I get this sticker out, because I'm gonna do something with the sticker tonight. You know, whenever a piece of equipment like earns its stripes, you know, when you use your mower, it starts laying really good stripes, or you have that new that new rotary scissors is doing a great job, and you finally say, you know what, it is worthy of a badge, it's earned a stripe. Well, I got a piece of equipment tonight, and I'm also going to stripe. I'm going to do it live. You guys can actually see it. We'll talk about it a little bit more. But in the meantime, you guys hit the like button. I'd really appreciate it. All right, let's see who we have here up next. All right, next up we got Robert Rainey. He says, Rip Marquise. Dalvin Larry says, he's laughing. Okay, guys, so there's enough people here. I guess this is the attendance we're gonna have tonight. So I'll talk a little bit more about what happened. So last week, I started noticing some damage in my lawn, and it was definitely a mole. If you guys have not seen that, I'm gonna give you guys some links so you can actually check out from like last week. So this is the video from last week. It's a short. All these are short, so they all take like less than 60 seconds to watch. So if you watch that one, that's linked in the chat. Actually, I'll put it here so the folks that are on Facebook can get it too. So if you watch that, that will get you caught up as far as the horror that took over my lawn. You know, it was an unprovoked attack. You know, and personally, I think it knew what it was doing, because it didn't do it during the summertime, springtime, when the lawn's actively growing to where, whenever there's damage, I could go through it. It wanted to do it. It wanted to avenge the death of the mole from last year that decided it was going to make a mess of my lawn. They wanted to do it when it was dormant because it knew I'd have to look at the damage until like February. So that's how I'm taking it. I might be wrong, but that's kind of how I'm seeing this. I'm taking it personally. All the Michael Jordan videos where you see him talking about, someone gives someone that was competing against him a compliment, and he says, I took that personally. Same thing with the mole. Took it very personally. So I tried to go about this in ways that were as nice as possible to encourage Marquise to go somewhere else. I said, let's take this. Let's slowly ramp up the pain. Let's start nice and let's ramp up the pain. So first thing that never works is to go through, stamp his he has all his tunnels, all his active tunnels that he's burrowing through. Go through and stamp all those down. That's not going to work, but at least it lets him know that I know that he's there. And I said, I'm going to give this a day. We're going to see what's going to happen. Lo and behold, day comes back next day, and he redid them. Didn't care. He was like, whatever. Kind of threw me a middle finger, saying, hey man, I'm here. What more you got? So I took it up another notch, right? So I got the hose out, kind of like what you guys saw in the video of the last mole that was in the lawn. And I flooded the tunnels, and I'm saying, okay, listen, I'm going to try and encourage this guy. I'm trying to flush him out. I'm going to try and encourage him to go somewhere else, like leave my lawn alone. This is not the one. I'm not, that scene like in John Wick where he's saying, it's not what you did, it's who you did it to. Like, I'm that guy. I'm just, I take a lot of pride in my lawn, and it was not going to go away. I wasn't going to let this go. So I was trying to give him every opportunity. The next thing I did, and I didn't do a short of this, but if you guys know these, like the smoke flares, like they sell them at like any of the big box stores, and I don't think they really work, but it's another thing to kind of encourage, him to go somewhere else, to discourage, hey, leave. This is not going to end well for you. You need to just go elsewhere. So I got some of those, got 4 flares, and I put those into the tunnel, into the active tunnels. Set them off, and they're working well. There's tons of smoke, and I sealed them in. I said, okay, maybe this is going to gas him out. Maybe he'll determine, this guy's taking it kind of seriously. He's not gonna let this thing go. But no. What did it for me, guys, is and I should have videoed this, but I was leaving to go to the gym one morning, right? I was leaving to go to the gym, and I just, for whatever reason, I was going to look at the lawn. I'm sure you guys do the same thing. You look at the lawn whenever you're coming home and when you're leaving. And I looked over at the sidewalk, and let me give you guys an idea of what I'm talking about. So if you look at this video here, which shows actually, let's see if I can play this live. That shows some of the like what he was doing. So he was smarter. This guy decided he wasn't going to go and go through the. That's the wrong one. Go over the, run right down the middle of the lawn. He decided he was going to go along the sidewalk, burrow along the sidewalk, just kind of be a little more slight about it to thinking I wasn't going to care. But literally, back to the story. So I'm leaving, right? I'm leaving to go to the gym, and I'm looking out, and I'll show you guys exactly. I'll pause this here, and I'll show you guys where it happened. I think I can do this live. Let's see.
flood it.
Yeah, so right.
Run water through its tunnels.
I'm not sure if I can pause the short or not.
Somewhere else.
Yeah, I can.
Okay,
so
that smoke.
This is me. That's me trying to get the hose out, to try and get it out. And right, okay, so if you look right here, so my driveway to leave is there, right? So you can see like if you, the end of the sidewalk, that's where the driveway is. So what made me have to go out and transition from the nicer ways of trying to get the mold to go away to, let's say, more permanent methods, is I'm leaving and I'm looking to my left, and literally right there, like if you go back to the video, you see all that dirt to the right of the trap, or like going away from the trap. I'm literally watching the dirt like moving as it's burrowing like along the sidewalk. It was doing this in broad daylight. So again, I took it as a sign of disrespect. So I got my hands on one of those that you see there in the live stream, one of the scissors traps, and I'll give you a better look at what one of these guys looks like. One of these guys, right? So you can see this. So the idea behind this is like this bar sits at the surface of the soil. You press this in an active tunnel, like an active tunnel where the mold is, and then you step on this, and what happens is the scissors, they open. There's like a pressure plate here. As the mole is burrowing, it triggers this, snaps down, and the rest is history, right? So that's what did it for me. I'd had enough. Besides, last week I told you guys that if the mold didn't go away, I was going to bring the smoke, and I got a rep to uphold. I can't come in here a week later and I'll be like, hey guys, the mold's still winning. He's like burrowing the lawn. I can't come in here looking soft like that. So I had to, had to take it up a notch. So I put two of these in. One that you see there, the last area that he was burrowing through, right?
Avoiding the main part of the lawn.
And then the other one, which worked, and it's funny how smart these guys are. If you look
a little bit closer,
if you look right here, so I'm going to pause right there. Okay, so you see that semicircle that's kind of following the sidewalk? There's actually an irrigation head right there. So he must have been burrowing along the sidewalk and said, oh, there's something really hard here. There's a pipe. I'm going to go around this. So he literally burrows around it. And this is where I set the trap. I put it right here. The second one, I set the trap right there. And
you wanted that smoke.
This,
and you got it.
There's the result. And this is a big boy. This is not, this guy did not miss any meals. I mean, compared to the one that we were dealing with last time, this one did not, he was on a bulk. He was on a bulk. He had some of that winter weight on him. He was living his best life, eating all the earthworms up in the lawn, just doing his thing. And again, I gave him every opportunity. So I don't feel bad about this. I don't feel bad about it at all. And if you guys want to see the actual moment when it happens, I feel a little bit bad about this, but if I told you I've watched this video, because I caught it on the security cam footage, if I told you I've watched this video maybe 30 or 40 times, that's being conservative. Because I'll have it on loop and just have it playing over and over and over and over, because you know what? He wanted it. He wanted that smoke, and he got it. So this is it actually happening. So you guys saw the aftermath. This is it happening live. So I'm going to go over here, drop this in. Let's see if it's going to let me play this. It is. Nice. Okay, so we'll go back here and look to the left side of your screen, and listen carefully. You can actually hear it more so than you can see it. But like at the 9 o'clock position in the frame, listen for this. That was the moment. That's when he got his, right then and there. It'll loop. We can listen again. Yep. One more time. So Marquise, I didn't want it, cuz I didn't want it to go this far. I tried to be nice. You wanted the smoke, and you got the smoke. So, in honor of this piece of equipment that has served me oh so well, it's proven its worth. There's two of them, but this is the one that got it done. We're gonna earn its stripe tonight. So I got my sticker here, already measured it off, and we are going to we're gonna apply this to this guy and make it official. Make it official. So there you go. There you go. Golf course lawn approved. I like this. And again, I didn't want it to come here. They want to come here, but I got a reptile pole. If you guys want to see some more pictures of what we're dealing with, so we got a close-up. And again, if you like moles, avert your eyes. It's going to be kind of graphic, but I don't care. So that's him. Again, it was a clean kill. He didn't suffer very long. And again, you look at him. He's a big boy. He's a big boy. And then this is him in the trap before he went off to get disposed of. So again, I didn't ask for it. He wanted it. He wanted the smoke, and the judge here eliminated. It brought about justice. This is like the Excalibur of mole punishment. This is the trap of justice. So did a good job. This is the actual one that did it. So that's what went on in that's how my week has been. Again, it started out kind of bad, and then got a lot better after eliminating the mole. And again, if some of you guys like moles, sorry, because they are they literally create so much damage so quickly. And again, I don't feel the least bit bad because I gave him every opportunity to go elsewhere. Again, I was nicer than normal. I didn't, I did water, stamped down his tunnels. I did smoke bombs. I tried everything. And then, and then when I'm sitting there leaving the house, I'm looking at him, I'm literally seeing little dirt hills like moving as he's going along the sidewalk. I said, okay, all right. It's like, okay, all right. You wanted it, you got it. So that's what was my week. Hopefully you guys got some fun, enjoyed that. Again, if you guys want to know which trap I used, I'll link it for you guys here. It works. They work great. So as long as you have an active mole tunnel, like where they're actually going through, it works great. A tip I would tell you is moles have a very good sense of smell. So if you want to increase the likelihood that you're going to get it quickly, when you are putting this in the ground, wear gloves. Like don't at a minimum, don't handle the scissors parts of it. Don't touch the scissors parts of it. I just used a pair of, I've got them here. I've got like some of these, like some tough, these little rubber gloves, these gloves like this. So I used this when I was putting it in the ground. I also wear fragrances, so that's another thing too that I didn't want to have him going along his merry way and he smells something off and then he turn back. So the only other tip I would tell you is if you're going to use one of these, don't wear gloves if you can, because it's going to minimize you transferring your scent to this, which could scare the mole off, or just make it take a bit longer for it to take the path and get his. So it's the only other tip I tell you. They work great, easy to use, and again, it's pretty humane. I mean, he was gone like that. He was going along, and all of a sudden he's like, snapped up, and that was it. All right. So now you guys know how my week went, how I delivered justice, and now we'll get back to the show and see what questions or comments you guys have. All right, next up is Justin Judkins. He says, I am getting around to putting down my prodiamine. Should I put some fungicide down as well? Last fungicide app was early to midsummer, Bermuda, San Antonio, Texas. Yes, I would still apply it, Justin. I mean, you are late. You're a lot later than I would recommend as far as doing your pre-emergent, but it's still better to get it down and get some benefit, some control, versus not doing anything at all. As far as fungicide and application, if you want to do one, you can as well. I do my fungicide apps in the beginning of October and October and then November. So again, you're about 30 days behind when I typically do mine. But if you have reason to believe that you may have disease problems in your lawn, or you're just trying to prevent spring dead spot, you can also apply fungicide as well. It's not going to really hurt anything. Again, the time when I would have done it for pre-emergent would have been like the September-ish time frame, and then for the fungicide, I'd like to get the first one out in October. But again, it's better to put it out and get some control, some benefit versus doing nothing. So yes, I would. So hope that helps, sir. Again, next year, what you're going to want to plan for is again, late August, early September for your pre-emergent, and October, November for your fungicide. I like to do 2 fungicide apps in the fall, one in October and then one other one in November. I think that produces, that worked well for me last year, and so I repeated the same this year as far as preventing spring dead spot in my lawn, which is the main reason why I do it. Next up is CS. He says, I have a field behind my house, always dealing with moles. Yeah, they're a pain, man. I mean, the scissors traps, the one I just showed you, did I link it here in the I didn't link it for you guys. I'll link it here in the in the show for you guys to try out. Yeah, because I mean, you can use poisons, you can use the baits, you can use acelepryn to get rid of their to help reduce their food source, which can encourage them to go somewhere else. But if you want a faster solution, then the trap is, that's going to be the way to go. So this is the one that I actually used. I thought I linked it, but I didn't. So mole, this is the guy that I use. Works great. I got like a little 2-pack. You may be able to get by with one, but having two, it's like the American approach. Why not two? Why not two of them if you can have one of them? But yeah, that is what I would say. And other things you can that also will help with moles. I mean, again, if you could eliminate the amount of their food source, so using an insecticide like acelepryn is good. Another thing which you really don't have a ton of control over if you get a lot of rain is moles like soil that is softer to burrow through. So the thing that is interesting, when this problem started, we had gotten like 3 or 4 days of rain and quite a bit of rain. So the soil was saturated. It was really like I could take a screwdriver and just and without very much pressure push it all the way down to the handle. It was the soil is really soft, which is what moles like. And if you think about it, like my lawn, it didn't go to the neighbor's lawn. It was in my lawn. So that's not something to be overlooked. If you're watering a lot and you're potentially watering too much, if you reduce that, that also can help make your lawn a little bit less appealing for moles. So saturated soil, so softer soil, a food source, that will help. But again, there's not a whole lot you can. The best way to get rid of them once they're in your lawn is a trap. So that's the thing I would tell you, CS. And again, you're not really gonna be able to do a whole lot about water, the saturated soil part of it, if you're getting a lot of rainfall. Like I can't go and put an umbrella over my entire lawn. So that's when you got to bring out the judge. You got to bring this guy out. So yeah. And again, the only tip I would tell you is if you're going to go use those, wear gloves. Wear gloves so you don't transfer your scent to it and makes the mole go elsewhere. All right. Next up, we have Sophie's choice. She says, "What brings moles to your yard?" Great question, Sophie. So, as I was saying, a big thing is food. So the interesting thing, whenever the mole was actively burrowing, and I was actually watching it when I got out of the car, like you could literally see earthworms at the surface, like literally trying to run for their lives. So it was actively going after earthworms. Here's the thing, it's kind of a catch-22 because earthworms we really don't want to get rid of. They're a good thing to have in our soil, but they eat earthworms, they eat grubs. They eat a lot of different types of insects. So the way to prevent moles is to eliminate grubs. You can do that with an insecticide like acelepryn. And then if you're watering, reduce the amount of water that you're putting on the lawn. Like that does make a difference as far as the appeal they have for your particular lawn, because it makes it easier for them to burrow and tunnel through if the soil is softer. So hope that helps. Again, as far as the thing that they say too is that I'll see if there's any more surface, but it's not like I'm likely gonna have like 2 or 3 moles in my lawn. Like one mole can cover an area of a football field. I mean, like one mole does not. In other words, they don't tend to they can, but oftentimes you're not necessarily going to see them all congregating in on one property. Like when I've had the issue, it's been one. When Alex had one, it was one, and we got rid of it. So it's not like I know I've had some viewers that have had issues where they've had several of them, but what my experience has been, it's usually been one or so, and as long as you take care of it quickly, then they don't have a chance to have a bunch of babies and make the problem worse. So I hope that helps. As far as that goes, acelepryn, an insecticide, is a good thing to do as far as making your lawn less appealing. The thing with that is, though, it's a slower way to go, right? Because it's not like you're going to apply acelepryn and let's say a mole's already in your lawn, right? You go out and you put down an insecticide like acelepryn. While that will begin targeting the grubs, the mole is already there. Ideally, you want to have that down prior. Like for me, an acelepryn application in April timeframe and another one in August is going to do a good job as far as what it's really designed for, which is keeping grubs out of your lawn, like lawn damaging insects. And that's the other thing I would tell you. So reduce the food population, don't overwater. And then as far as getting rid of them, there's different ways of going about it that can ramp up in I say permanence, I guess you could say. You can like flooding them. Like the first one, we caught it when it was active, when it was burrowing. Like we literally saw what it was doing it, and I was able to get out there with a hose and flush it out and get rid of it that way. That doesn't always work. If it's unless you're actually seeing it when it's doing it, that's not always the best strategy for getting rid of them. Some people like to use like the smoke bombs, the little smoke like the flares. I don't know how well those really work. I mean, it's probably more of a deterrent than anything else. Like people say, oh, you can use it, you can put the smoke bombs in, and then you can seal off the tunnel, and that's gonna suffocate them or whatever. But I did that, didn't work. And the way to get rid of them quickly while minimizing damage to your lawn, but it's kind of bad for the mole, is to use a trap. So the one that I would say there's two types. There's more than two types, but there's two commonly ones you'll see. There's one that's like this, like the scissors trap type, like this one. And they're the ones that are like it's like a plunger with blades that have the same type of trigger mechanism, but whenever it's triggered, like these blades go, like they shoot down, and the idea is that it's going to hit the mole and take care of it that way. But this did a great job. So that's what that's the one that I would opt for. They're not terribly expensive. It's really well built, so you're going to buy it and you're going to have it for as long as you're there. It's not like a one and done thing. They're reusable over and over and over again. So sorry if you're dealing with that. Sorry, Sophie. And if you're just asking just to be ahead of the game, now you know. Now you know. I really do not. I'm trying to think. I'd rather have like a spurge outbreak in my lawn. I'd rather have Poanua in my lawn than moles, because those are easy to take. That's relatively easy to take care of. The damage isn't like when it's there, it's not quite so bad. But I mean, a mole, man, can literally just like you can take a beautiful property and it will just absolutely in a couple of days just make it look hideous. So I really don't like moles. Really don't like them. So, but he got his. He wanted the smoke. He was like, whatever. He's like, whatever. Bring it. I'm not going anywhere. So he got his. All right. Next up is John. He says, "Hey Ron, happy holidays. A novice question. Can you mix Carbon Pro G and Essential G to save costs?" You could. I mean, I guess you're asking, could you apply Essential G and Carbon Pro G on the same lawn? Sure. If you've got some Essential G and you got some Carbon Pro G laying around, you want to put that down. Yes. I mean, there's no negative to it. I mean, as far as ingredients, Carbon Pro G is biochar and compost. Right? Essential G is biochar, compost, reclaimed coffee grounds, silicon, and there's also some humate in it, right? So as far as you using them, it's not going to hurt to mix and match. So that's your question. Yes. I don't understand how you would necessarily save costs. If you're asking, if you can find Carbon Pro G locally and it's a bit less expensive, then that's, I guess, how you could see saving costs. But if you have both of them, like you've already got them, you know what I mean? So I'm not sure what you're after. But the long short of it is, can you apply them on the same lawn on the same day if you wanted to and it not hurt anything? Not at all. Not going to damage anything at all. You could absolutely do that if that's the way you want to go. So if you need a follow-up, or if there's something else that I missed, you can, feel free to drop another message in the chat, and I will revisit it. All right. Good question. You know what? I'm trying to see here. That might, you know what, John? You know what? Tis the season. Tis the season for this is the holiday season. So it's a good question. I mean, it's about Carbon Pro G and Essential G, both of which are Miramichi Green products. So if you want, again, I don't know if you're sure if you're a t-shirt guy. I think most lawn people are t-shirt guys or gals. But if you want a chance to, or if you want to, a free to you, Greatness from the Ground Up shirt from Miramichi Green at no cost, feel free to send me an email, ron@golfcourselawn.com. This is my email address right here. You can send me an email right there, ron@golfcourselawn.com, and say, "Hey, Ron, this is John Stewart from the Livestream. Can you please tell me how I can get my free shirt?" And I will say, "Yes, John, do this, and this, and you'll get a free shirt." It's actually not that bad. So if you want to send me an email, and I will. I'll get you taken care of. Another week. I'll get you taken care of. So you can get yourself some free swag. All right, cool. We have a super chat. Where have I been? I'm lagging. Lance, I apologize. Thank you so much, Lance.
Super chat received.
He said all you needed to do was call Alex. LOL. Yeah, Alex was busy at work, so I didn't want to. I couldn't call him from work to come help out with this, and so yeah. But he's the man. I mean, he took care of the last one. He doesn't mess around. He doesn't mess around, man. He's the mole John Wick. He doesn't play when it comes to taking care of moles. Thank you so much for the super chat, Lance. Lee will get you all set up here. Let's see, Lance F and lowercase f. There we go, like that. There you go, sir. Your name in lights for whatever that means to you. Appreciate all the love and support.
Super chat received.
It really does mean a lot. Really does mean a lot. Okay, next up is Higy Pop. He says, what are your top 3 tips for the lawn during the winter months? Great question, Higy Pop. I would say get a soil test done. Get a soil test done. Don't neglect watering it. You don't have to water as often as you do whenever they're, it's like at the summertime when the lawn is actively growing. But the lawn, you don't want it to get too dry. So if you don't have any rain for like 2 weeks, run an irrigation cycle to put some water on the lawn. And then my third tip would be if you live somewhere where you get freezing weather to where the ground freezes, stay off the lawn, stay off of it, because you walking on a frozen lawn can cause damage to the crown, can cause damage to the grass. Even here in Georgia, right? If we have some days where it's going to get into the 20s, we've had some of that here already this year. Stay off the lawn. Don't walk on it. So I would say get a soil test done because that's going to set you up for next year. Don't hesitate to put some water on the lawn every now and then. Once every couple of weeks is enough. And then if you have freezing temperatures, stay off the lawn because then you minimize the chance of damaging your grass. As far as the soil test, I would recommend the one from My Soil, which you can get at the golf course lawn store. I'll actually send you a link of where you can grab one of those if you so desire, Higy Pop. So I hope that helps. Yeah, that's the top 3. Now, things that I also do outside of that, but I wouldn't say really they're essentials. It's more because I'm like a lawn nerd and that's just the way it is I also will occasionally go out there and I'll turf rake the lawn. I'll also go out there and mow occasionally. Yes, the lawn isn't actively growing, but if you go out there and you mow it, I mean, it does just tidy it up a bit, give it a nice clean and manicured appearance. So that's an optional thing to do, but definitely not necessary unless you are, I guess you're like a lawn nerd and you're just looking for something to do. So this is the link to the My Soil Test Kit. My Soil Test Kit. Right there. And the other things don't require anything of you other than running water and telling people to not walk on your lawn. So there is that. Great question, Higy. I'm actually going to turn that into a short because I'm sure other people have that as well. So three easy things to do. All right. Next up, if I could find out where I left off, is Happy Fuller. He says, "Happy Friday, lawn care student here just to take notes. LOL." Thanks so much, Happy. Hopefully you're getting some fun out of it. You're learning a lot. You're getting like a great class on how to get rid of moles. If they do come in your lawn again, I wouldn't wish moles on people I don't like so much, which is not that many of them. I wouldn't wish moles on them because they do so much damage so quickly, and they're just a pain. They're a pain to have to deal with. But now you know how to get rid of them. You got different methods of going about it. There's some people that will go out and they'll get like the actual like the cage type traps to try and catch them and then relocate them. Once you scar my lawn, once you slap my baby, that's off the table. I'll give you the option to leave, but I'm not gonna catch you and then have to go drive somewhere out and we ain't doing all that. Nope, not doing all that. So there you go. Jackie Bear says, "Smash, you got this." Thanks so much, Jackie. Next up is Gerald Jennings. He says, "Ron, I got my soil test results with 2 high spikes in nitrogen and sulfur. However, the pH level is in the optimal range. I miss using I didn't see the rest of what your question is. But yeah, here's the thing, Gerald. As far as nitrogen, that will come down over time. And sulfur, there's not a whole lot you can do about that other than, avoiding adding more of it. Like try to avoid putting large amounts of sulfur into the soil. What you'll find is some fertilizers have some sulfur in them, but you can just avoid like high sulfur fertilizers is what I would say. And yeah, and the big thing, the thing that you said you have that's great is your soil pH. Like that is, if I had to pick one thing in a soil test that to be spot on, I would pick the soil pH, because everything else is easier to fix. Like you can fix micronutrient deficiencies, macronutrient deficiencies, like that stuff is relatively easy to fix faster, or to see improvement faster than a soil pH that's is highly acidic or highly alkaline. Like that can be months, in some cases years to fix, depending, or to get to improved, depending on the kind of soil you have, depending on where like the buffer pH, like where the soil just naturally likes to be is. So if you've got your soil test results are reflecting that your pH is in great shape, like you've already won the lottery. All the other stuff is easier to take care of. So I really wouldn't sweat it too much. All right, next up is Larry, LXRD. He's in the house. He says, happy Friday, Ron. Well, fescue seeds germinate when temps are down to the low to mid 30s at night and low to mid 60s during the day. I seeded a few thin spots yesterday. Well done on the mole. Again, thank you so much, Larry. You know, I don't know the quite answer to that. I know Bermuda needs temps in these soil temps in the mid 60s to germinate and to do well. I don't know what fescue does. I'd imagine the 30s is going to be a bit too cold, but I'm not sure. So the fact that you're getting into the 60s in the day is a good sign, but that's air temperature. So if the peak temp is in the mid 60s during the day, that probably means your average soil temps is in the 50s. So I don't know if that's quite warm enough to get good germination. Here's the thing. It's not going to hurt anything other than you potentially losing some seed, right? So if you put some out, if it grows in, it grows in. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There's not a whole lot you can do other than give it a shot or wait until springtime. So I'll look into that and find out for you. But I can tell you that Bermuda would want soil temperatures to be warmer than that to do well. I'm not so sure for fescue. But again, it's only grass seed. So if if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. No big deal. No harm, no foul, right? So that's a good question. Alex, I have no idea why I always have so much trouble saying your name, Larry. That's why I just say Larry, because the other way is I always just butcher it up, right? All right, so we have Off-Road NV is in the house here on the gram saying, best day of the week. Thank you for your service. Hashtag grass talk. I appreciate that, Off-Road NV. We got Lawn Whisperer. Justin's in the house. What's going on, Justin? Hopefully you're doing well, man. And let's see who else. No other comments. Cool. All right, Doug. What's going on, Doug? All right, next up is Nathan D. Nathan D. Oh, I like this question. He says, what are your steps on the best lawn? So creating the lawn that your neighbors are absolutely going to envy. You want to know how to do that? He says, start from bare dirt to great fescue lawn here in southeast Tennessee. Sod likely, had torn up new field lines. Also, would you do now or wait till early spring? Okay, so as far as steps for the best lawn, I've got this outlined on the Golf Course Lawn Store, so I'll show you first, Nathan, and then we'll talk to it, all right? So if you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store and you go to shop and just click on that, that will take you to our collections page. And if you scroll down and scroll down and scroll down, you will get to this infographic that I'm quite proud of. It took actually quite a bit of work to create this. And these, at a high level, are the steps of how you get a great lawn. The thing one, which doesn't sound like you're going to be dealing with that too much, is to eliminate weeds. The way you do that is using a combination of post-emergent herbicides that are correct for your grass type, and then you prevent them by using pre-emergent. So it's like a two-pronged approach, post-emergent and pre-emergent, to control weeds in your lawn. The next step, which is the thing that a lot of people don't do, but it's really important, is to do a soil test. Because one of the most important questions that people ask is, what fertilizer should I be using on my lawn? What are the nutrient deficiencies that are in my soil? And that question is practically impossible to answer without data. And the way you get the data is by using a soil test. So this is like literally the best $30 that you'll spend in your lawn care program. If you only do it one time, it's still worth doing, because it's going to allow you to do step 3 with intelligence, right? Because step 3, if you don't know whether where your macros are, if you need micronutrients, or if your pH needs to be addressed or anything like that, like how do you know what fertilizer to use? You're literally one of those people, like you'll see it all the time in the springtime. You go to, to any of the big box stores, you go watch the fertilizer section around March, April timeframe, you'll always see the person that's like, okay, well, it's March, April timeframe, so I'm gonna walk around, I'm gonna pick one of these bags of fertilizer and hopefully it's going to be right for my lawn. Like literally you're just guessing. So don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Don't be that gal. Have the data so you'll be able to say, oh, you know what? My nitrogen, my potassium are a bit low. So that means I need a nitrogen and potassium fertilizer. Something like Humic Max would be a great choice, right? So you have the data to be able to make the right decision as far as what product to apply to your lawn. Once you've done these 3 steps, the next step is the one that people don't do consistently enough, but it is probably the most important from an appearance standpoint, and that is mowing. So you should mow, and mow some more. And if you do these things, even if you don't do them in this order, if you do steps 1 through 4, it's practically impossible to not have a lawn that looks incredible. So if you manage weeds, so you don't have other grass, other plants growing in your lawn that you don't want to kind of upset the visual appearance of it. You do a soil test so you know what the nutrient deficiencies are. You fertilize your lawn according to that soil test data, and then you mow some more. You're going to have a great looking lawn. Now, as far as mowing, how often do you need to mow your grass? Really depends. From a standpoint of creating a lawn that's going to be better than most of the lawns on your street, unless they're like watching this content and they're doing the same thing, is if you could mow your lawn twice a week, which I know sounds like a lot, but 1, it's great exercise, and you said you wanted a good looking lawn, so I'm telling you how you have to do it. So if you could mow your lawn twice per week, I think that is the minimum. That's the barrier for entry for getting a great stand of turf. So if you mow once on the weekend, and if you can find time to mow once during the middle of the week, that's gonna do a lot for the appearance of your lawn. As you go shorter, so in your case, you have a fescue lawn, so this is not gonna really apply to you. But as you go shorter and shorter, say you have a Bermuda or zoysia or Kentucky bluegrass or ryegrass, any grass types that tolerates being cut at shorter heights. Like when I say shorter, I mean like under 1.25 inches, like low. That is when stepping up your mowing frequency becomes really important. So twice per week for a Kentucky bluegrass or a ryegrass lawn could work all right, but really whatever your particular grass type is actively growing, meaning when it's in go time. So say for Bermuda, that's going to be June, July. That's when it's growing the most aggressively. You could be out there 3 times a week mowing the grass. You know what I mean? So the long short of it is the shorter you want to maintain the lawn, the more mowing frequency goes up. So if you think about a golf course, like fairways, they will mow every other day. In some courses they mow more frequently than that, some less, but in most places, if you ask most greenkeepers, they'll tell you that the fairways get mowed every other day, but the greens get mowed every day. On some courses, especially when they're getting ready for tournament, the greens will get mowed twice. They get mowed in the morning, they get mowed again in the evening. So the difference between the green and the fairways and the rough, if you think about it, like the rough gets mowed maybe once every 2-3 days, maybe once a week, depending on how savage they're trying to be, is the height. So the green is the shortest turf on the course. It's very tight. It's it's arguably the most important playing surface on the golf course. So it has to be pristine. And the only way to keep it looking that good is by regular mowing. And that means every day. The fairways, also important, but they don't require the same mowing frequency or same mowing demands as a green does. The rough, even less so. So your grass, your particular lawn, your particular golf course lawn is the same way. The shorter you maintain the grass, the more frequently you have to mow it. And that's the thing, honestly, that's going to set you apart from everybody else. Because all this other stuff, you look at this, the infographic, like this, pre-emergents are going to apply twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall. Post-emergent herbicides, for the most part, if you're doing things right and you have your weed control program under control, you're going to be spot spraying a couple times throughout the season. So it's not going to be a regular thing. Soil testing, if you're really a boss, you're going to be doing it once in the spring, once in the fall, so twice a year. Fertilization, if you're doing it the way that I do it, which again is a bit more extreme than most people do, you're going to be fertilizing your lawn once every 2 weeks. So once at the first of the month and then again in the middle of the month, right? So, but you think about that. All those things, some of them are once or twice a year. Some of them are twice a year, right? So we got like once or twice a year, once or twice a year, from a granular standpoint, once per month if you're spraying liquids, twice per month. And the mowing part, is at least twice per week. So you see, this really is the most important part of it. So keeping the equipment sharp and doing and committing to regular mowing is really going to make all the work that you put in with these previous steps produce a lawn that looks like that. So in addition to this, Nathan, we've got a guide, a beginner's guide to lawn care, which is, if you go to resources and go to our knowledge base, and then in guides, you've got this one right here, which is one we wrote this year. It took a while to put together. It's kind of long, but it's also really good. So I think you'll enjoy it because it talks about cool season grass, warm season grass, lawn equipment, soil pH, why it matters, like all the stuff, pretty much all the things that you need to know to have a good foundation of how to create a great lawn. And it's for free. You can absolutely read it for free, right? It talks about soil aeration, what herbicides are, pesticides, fungicides, the type of equipment you're going to need, mowing practices, like all this stuff, like all the things that I could think of that someone that's brand new to lawn care, a lawn care neophyte, would need to know to get an amazing lawn. So I will link that here for you in the chat, Nathan. In addition to what I was just telling you, this hopefully will also provide some value as well. So check out that blog post. As far as when you want to lay your sod, with Bermuda, it doesn't really matter. Like you can, at least in Northeast Georgia, you could plant Bermuda, or you could sod Bermuda pretty much year round. If you are, if I don't know if that's really the case with fescue. If you want to wait till spring, that's not going to be a bad plan. I'm trying to think about this. If you wait until springtime, and again, I'm not sure what how extreme the temperatures are where you are. If you wait till spring, the thing you have to realize with a fescue lawn is you're not going to be able to use pre-emergent for at least 6 months. Some people will say a year, but 6 months is really the minimum before you want to really introduce any kind of pre-emergent. So the sooner you get the sod in, then that timer starts where the lawn will root in, and you can look at using pre-emergent to help manage weeds in your lawn. If you want the time of year which is going to produce like the best chance of success with the least likelihood of damage, then early spring is what I would say. Early spring. So I don't know what it's like in Tennessee, but if I'd imagine March time frame would be good. That's going to give you adequate time to get the sod in and have it root in and get established before the summer temperatures really show up. Fescue tends to deal with temperatures with like the summer heat okay, as long as you're putting enough water on it. But the earlier in the season, once you're on a consistent warming trend, is going to be better as far as getting that grass established and be in good shape. So hope that helps, sir. Again, check out that blog post that I linked for you. If you have any other questions, do let me know. And congrats on the fescue lawn. Here's the thing. It's not Bermuda that you're not putting in. I won't hold it against you. I do think a little, I have to say, I do think a little bit less because you're not using Bermuda, but hey, I get it. Some people like fescue, and maintained well, it can look really cool. So congrats. Take pictures as you go through the process, and let me know if I can help with anything else. All right, next up, Demarculus Thompson is in the live stream. He says, "Greetings, Ron. I know we can continue to add Essential G during this season. However, why is it not recommended to mulch the leaves for carbon? Thanks in advance." So there's nothing wrong with mulching leaves into the lawn if it's a small amount. What I'm not a fan of is if you have a lawn that is like completely covered in leaves, you can't even see the grass. Like, I'm not a fan of mulching all of that into the lawn. I'm not a fan of doing that. So because it's kind of subjective as far as like how much is too much, I tend to tell people if it's light, if you have a light amount of leaves on the lawn, you want to mulch that's fine. But if the lawn is fully covered, I really wouldn't recommend that. I'd recommend getting them off getting it off the lawn. You have to think about it. Like the temperatures this time of year is not that high. The soil temperatures aren't that high. You don't have as much microbial activity this time of year. So if you have a ton of trees on your property and you mulch all that debris into the lawn, you don't have like the engine in the soil that breaks down organic matter isn't really working that well this time of year. And you can increase the likelihood if you couple a big, like a mat of like mulched up leaves in the lawn with a lot of moisture, you can create conditions that can lead to diseases. So for that reason, that's why I recommend for most people, if you can, just get the leaves off. Like that's a guarantee which will really not hurt anything. If you have a small amount of leaves and you want to mulch that in, that's fine. And if you want like a middle ground Demarculus, what you could do is this. Like whenever the trees on your property do like most of their shedding, right? So most of the leaves come down. Like that first time when there's tons of leaves, like you can barely see the grass because it's all just leaves all over it. Like get that off. And then what falls after that, if you want to mulch that in, like I'd have a lot less heartburn about that. But I just don't want people to take here's the thing. I know that mulching is easier than getting rid of the leaves, but what I don't want is someone that has like, again, like a carpet of leaves in their lawn just to run a mower over it. And because again, it could be okay, but you can also create conditions where you're more prone to have disease problems versus getting them off the property. So that's my thoughts on the matter. And as far as comparing Essential G to leaves, I mean, you're talking about a prill that is, I don't know, it's like the size of this, right? So as far as like this suffocating the lawn or creating like conditions for disease problems, like, you know, practically zero. That's not going to do that. But like if you, depending on again, how much leaves, how much debris we're talking about here, like that can form like a thin mat on the lawn that you combine a lot of moisture that we tend to get during the winter time, that you can create conditions where disease can be a problem. So for that reason, because I can't look at every single one of your lawns and say, this lawn is probably going to be fine if you mulch it. This one, I would definitely get everything off. The general advice that's going to keep you out of trouble is if there's a large amount of leaves in the lawn, it is better to get them off versus continually mulching that stuff into the lawn. If your goal is to prevent or to not create conditions that can cause disease problems. So that's my my thoughts on the matter. So Carbon Pro G or Essential G and mulching leaves, not the same thing. Not even remotely in the same universe. All right, next up is Leo Garcia. He says, hi, Ron. Would it be good to do a soil test now? I've got Tifway 419 in Austin, Texas. Yeah, sure. You absolutely can, Leo. No, really, there's really not a time of year that you can't soil test other than right after you fertilized. So the only time of year when I would say I would not go out and pull cores for a soil test is if you fertilized your lawn today and you're going to go out and do a soil test like 3 or 4 days from now. Like I wouldn't do that. I would ensure that there is really a month, like 3 to 4 weeks from the last time you introduce any kind of granular fertilizer into the soil before you pull cores for soil testing. But outside of that, if the ground isn't frozen, if you want to, you know, to do a soil test, you absolutely can. Like you can do one this time of year. If you're in Northeast Georgia, I'm not sure where you're in Austin. Yeah, in Austin, Texas. Yeah, you could do a soil test now if you wanted to. A good reason to do it now, Leo, is if your soil pH is a bit off. Let's say your soil is a bit more acidic. Like that takes longer to address or to correct than macro or micronutrient deficiencies. So let's say your soil is a little bit more acidic, right, to where it could benefit from a lime application. If you know that now, you can apply the lime now so that by the time you get to springtime, Marchish time from when you're starting to fertilize again, you know, that lime has already worked its way into the soil, it's already reacted with the soil, the soil pH is gonna come up a bit, and you're gonna get better results when it comes to using your fertilizer on the lawn. You know what I mean? So for no other reason other than ensuring that your soil pH is in good shape, I'm a fan of doing soil testing in the fall. Again, we're kind of in the winter now, but I mean, that's why I say doing one in the spring and one in the fall is a good idea. If you want to do one now, by all means, go for it. The one that I would recommend is the one from My Soil. There's already some links there in the chat to where you can pick one up, but this is the one that I would go with because they're easy to use. They cover all of the nutrients, so from nitrogen all the way to your micros, and you also get recommendations with it. And if you soil test, you know, in the spring and then again in the fall, the data, like the results, get saved in their portal, so you can easily compare, you know, like your spring soil test from your fall soil test, or your spring to spring, or however you want to carve it up. So you can get like a trend. You can establish a trend as far as how your soil is changing versus, you know, getting a soil test done somewhere else. Which again, you can do that, but then having a sheet of paper where you're having to compare like how the soil is really changing, regardless of which soil test method you decide to go with. Again, the one I would recommend is one from My Soil. Is regardless which one you do, what I would tell you is pick one and stick with it. So don't go to an extension office, you know, for one soil test in the spring and then go to another one and go do something else in the fall and just keep mixing and matching. What you'll find is if you do that, is while the overall curve will look the same. So like say if you do a soil test with like one from My Soil and then you go get one from an extension office, like whereas the curve, let's say that you have a phosphorus deficiency in your soil, right? But your nitrogen and potassium are fine. The curve will be the same in the overall curve will be the same as far as what My Soil sees or what an extension office sees. But as far as the levels, as far as how much of the actual nutrient that the soil test is seeing, that can and most likely will vary. So that's a big reason to pick one. Like pick one soil test, particularly pick an extension office if you want to do that, or again, I'm a big fan of my soil. Pick that and just stick with that. That way, you're really comparing apples to apples whenever you're doing your comparisons. So that's the only other thing I would tell you outside of, yes, you can do a soil test this time of year if you so desire. All right, next up is G Free. Mr. Gary Freeman is in the house. He says, "Hey Ron, Stripe Action Gang, happy Friday. Ron, do you put outside Christmas lights?" That's what you're asking me. Nope, I don't. Here's the thing, guys. I'm going to take the point deduction for this. I realize this. I mean, you guys can think less of me. I know, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't put up Christmas lights because for me, it's just too much work. I don't want to get out there with ladders and climb up and hang the lights and all this kind of stuff. And I don't want to pay someone to come to do all that. So the thing that I do, which I bet none of you guys do, which is not gonna make me look better, but it's something that's kind of unique, is my Christmas tree is always good to go. Like the Christmas tree has been up, and again, this is gonna sound really bad. The Christmas tree has been up for probably like 7 or 8 years and counting. So I got one of those trees from Costco, and instead of putting in like blinds or putting in like, window treatments for the bay window in the dining room, the Christmas tree is there. So it's there all year round. And whenever, Thanksgiving, it's Thanksgiving time, just plug it in and put the tinsels on, put the ornaments on, and away you go. So I am ready for Christmas, or at least from the Christmas tree standpoint, before any of you guys are, because I'm ready year round. But as far as doing decorations outside, I don't, because I just don't. It's kind of like shrubs. It's just work. It's too much work for me because, I get it. It looks really pretty. It looks nice, but it's just not. For me, the juice just isn't worth the squeeze. You know what I mean? And then, I have. I know people that work in healthcare, and this time of year, the number of people that fall off of ladders and get hurt and all this kind of stuff. It's not. I don't like it enough to put the effort in to do it, and I don't care enough to pay someone to do it. So there you go. I don't put up Christmas lights. I do put up a Christmas tree. It's always up. It's good to go. It's actually on right now. It's been in the same spot for the last 8 years or so. So there's that. So while there'll be a point deduction for no Christmas lights outside, do I get some bonus points? Maybe some, like a little bit of a curve for having the Christmas tree always good to go, or is that even a further deduction? I think it's probably going to be a further deduction with you guys. You guys are a harsh crowd. So, all right. Next up is he said decorations outside now. So the most I've done is one of those Snoopy, those little lawn ornaments that you can put out. Like there's one like a Snoopy one that you just plug in. Like that went out like 1 year, but there's like too much headache. I gotta take it out and put it back up and have an extension cord over the lawn. Just too much work. I thought about potentially doing, the only thing I might do is, and I know, here's the thing, it's like the epitome of like lazy Christmas outside decorations is, those projector things that you see people use? They'll put those and they'll point it at the house and they'll turn it on. It like does like a light show in the house. I could see doing that like that. That would be like an in-between, but I haven't even done that either. So long short of it is, while I do love this time of year, I do like Christmas. I love the way the neighborhood looks and like the decorations. I just don't do it because it's just too much work for me, and it's not worth it. Not worth it to me. So there you go. All right. So next up is Larry. He says, "I watched all your mole shorts and clicked the like button. Nice to see the Snapchat. Isn't it, man? It's like it's almost like therapeutic. Like literally, I'll have it on repeat and just have the click go off over and over and over and over and over again. So yeah, it's nice to know that it was gone, but even having it on video, so I have that moment captured, even better. And who knows? Maybe when the moles are in their little mole burrows and they're watching YouTube, maybe they're watching this, they're saying, "Oh man, Marquise got snapped up, man. That was not cool." And maybe they'll watch the video and say, "You saw what happened." Maybe they'll make them stay away for a year or two. We'll see. But if not, it's fine. I got it. I got the judge. The judge is ready for you. Got it striped. I have to start putting get some like black stickers or whatever, like a light, like thin stripes. Kind of like karate. As it gets another one, we'll put like another stripe on it. Killed. So hopefully I don't ever have to use that again, because I'd rather just not have moles at all versus having to use traps to get rid of them. All right, next up is Mark. He says, "Shreddy mole." Yeah, he's no longer here, but he asked for it. Hurricane Aaron from Instagram is in the live stream. He says, "Hope the mole has moved on to greener pastures." Oh, it has. It's moved. It's moved on. It's moved on. That's not, I won't say necessarily greener pastures, but it is definitely it's moved on. It's no longer with us. Hurricane Aaron, no longer here. Next up is 9. He says, "Ron, what was the tool you used to catch the mole?" Great question, Aaron. I used one of these. You probably were in the live stream later and you see it, but I used one of these. It's called a scissors trap. It works very well. I've got some links earlier in the live stream showing this guy working. The only piece of advice I'd give you're going to use one of these is wear gloves. Wear gloves so you don't transfer your scent to this as you're putting it in the ground. That's gonna improve your results, because if your scent gets on it, that could deter moles, because moles have a pretty good sense of smell. If you wear fragrances, then that's another thing you don't want on it, because that will drive them away. So wear gloves. Again, I used just some some Teflon, just some rough, like these gloves, disposable gloves, when I was putting this in. It's super easy. So say that, you have the tunnel, like the tunnel they go through, you will insert this in it just like that. It goes in really easily. This bar prevents it from going any further. Like this is the sole is actually sitting here, and then you simply step on this and it will arm it. It'll click and it's in place. And then whenever the mole starts burrowing, it will trigger the trap using this pad here. So works really well. I've got a video there that I'll link for you if you've not seen it, that shows it in action. Works great. Highly recommend. And if you don't have it, Nyan, because again, I think you already have it, but if not, I'll link it here again for you guys, just so you guys have it. I have the 2-pack, but they sell them, I think, individually if you just want to, if you want to go that route. That's the way to go. All right, Gerald Jennings is here. He says, "Ron, I got my soil test results back. Nitrogen and sulfur spiked really high, but the pH is optimal. I missed my McLean." Yeah, I think I already answered your question, Gerald. Again, as far as your nitrogen and sulfur, again, nitrogen N is going to come down over time. Sulfur, I just would avoid adding fertilizers that have high amounts of sulfur. And I'm sorry you missed your McLean. Sorry you missed your McLean. What happened to it? Did you get rid of it? Did it break? What happened? Inquiring minds want to know. Garrett Schnitzler is up next. He says, "Hey Ron, my birthday was yesterday, so I decided to get rid of the inconsistent Lesco Zero Pump and purchase a Cyclone 3. Can't wait to try it out. Have a good night." Awesome. Congrats. You know what? We're going to clap it up for you. Some new gear, new equipment. I like it. Congrats on the new sprayer. Congrats on the new sprayer. Dalvin Larry is up next. He says, "I've been following you for a while, and through all the videos and live streams, I've only seen you annoyed twice. You don't even get annoyed by the hecklers, but those moles bring out a different man." Yeah, I don't, man, listen, it's, you know what it is? Like, moles and fantasy football, like they take me to a dark place. I mean, they bring out a part of you that you just don't even know exists. Like, I mean, when you're like, comes to fantasy football, you're sitting there looking, and you're hoping for like maybe a twisted ankle, an injury, depending on a mild injury, depending on the person you're playing. And moles just are, it's, you know what it is? You put so much work into your lawn, and this is just like literally destroying it. And every time it's happened for me, it's always been caught on camera. It's been caught on camera in broad daylight, and I just don't like it. I mean, grubs, insect damage, disease problems. I don't like that either. But there's something about a rodent, like a mole, doing it, because it's so fast, and I just don't like them. I just really don't. And hecklers, nah, man. Hecklers, I don't. Whatever, man. That's like a rite of passage. If you're gonna be public on the internet, you better grow thick skin, because regardless of what you do, someone's not gonna like you. And in most cases, not because of anything you did, they just don't like you. So you gotta look past that. But yeah, moles and fantasy football, both those things, the two things that take me to a place that I'd rather not be too often. So, all right, next up is Jared George. He says, "Ron, I hope you like the photo. I'm planning on helping Dad this year, and I want to split costs on pre-emergent. Dad's lawn is cool season, and I'm Bermuda. What's a good pre-emergent that's safe for both?" Excellent question, Jared. So I'm going to give you two options. You can go with prodiamine or dithiopyr. If you're going to go with a liquid, like you want to use something that's going to get you a lot of coverage for cost spent, then prodiamine in a water dispersible granule is a great choice. So this right here, like for example, this guy, this little 5 ounce of prodiamine will cover, for Bermuda, 6,000 square feet. It also comes in a larger, like 5-pound jug that covers right around 2 acres. And it can be used on cool season grass and warm season grass. So I will show you where you can pick that up if you go to the golf course lawn store and go to shop and weed killer. And you use our carefully curated filter for pre-emergent. There you will see spectacle flow, which is not going to be your jam because you said your dad has cool season grass, so it's not going to work. But prodiamine, this one here is great value in the sense that you're going to have, again, you're talking about 2 acres worth of coverage with that. If you have a smaller property, you could go with the smaller one. That's going to cover, it's 6,000 square feet for Bermuda, and I want to say around 9,000-ish square feet for cool season grass types. And then he also comes in a granular form. So if you prefer granular, you could go with prodiamine in a granular. So that's the way I would go. Dithiopyr is a great choice as well too. But if you want the liquid route, it's going to really get you the most coverage. Go with the water dispersible granule. So I'll get you links to these here, Jared, and you'll be good to go. And it's safe for both warm and cool season grasses. So here you go, at Jared George. And yeah, thank you so much for the pictures, man. So Jared sent me a picture. I guess at his work they do like decorations. They can create like ornaments. So he created a cool one here, and he sent me a picture of it. I think I've got it here. Yep. So check it out. So it's get you off the screen here. It's Santa with a push reel mower. It's pretty cool, right? You're quite the artist, man. I got to tell you, that's pretty good. It worked out really good. I mean, I like it. It looks clean. So that's a picture he sent me of his Christmas tree ornament. I do dig it. And again, you're pretty good artist. I like I like how that turned out. Really nice work. But yeah, that's going to get you squared away as far as what you can do for both you and your dad for a pre-emergent option. Yeah, prodiamine is good. Dithiopyr is also good. Either one of those will work well for what you're trying to accomplish. Good stuff. All right, next is Mark Romano. Romano. Aloha. He says, in-name guy would put a mole on a stick to warn others. I did that last year, and this one too, I left it out for a while. So this picture right here, so when you see Marquise, you see Marquise all snapped up. So that was out on the lawn for a while. So this is right next to where I pulled him out, and I left him like that for a couple of hours. It was sat there so his boys could see him. They could plan. They could decide. Do we want to avenge him? We want to dig up the lawn more. We can. What are we gonna do? And when I looked at the lawn this morning, there's no new tracks. So I guess they made the smarter decision and realized that this is not the one. This guy's crazy. He will. I mean, it's gonna be war. The chicken Caddyshack. It's gonna be like that. I'm not letting this go. I'm not gonna let it go. It's not gonna be like, oh wow, well I guess they just want to nature. They just love my lawn. They just want to be on my lawn. I guess I just have to embrace the fact that they want to just destroy the lawn that I put a bunch of work in. Nope, not gonna be like that. It's gonna be them or me, and I'm bigger and I have weaponry. So there you go. So yeah. Next up is Jerry Freeze. He says he's laughing at the mole. Well, yeah, man, he asked for it. I ramped it up. We didn't get here overnight. He didn't get throat punched right away. He asked for this. It kept going and going and going. And this is where it all culminated. This is where we got to. You know what I mean? Mess around and find out. All right, so next up is Jared. He says, do cool season grasses benefit from scalping of any kind, even if not to dirt? For Bermuda, if I scalp to dirt, could that disrupt any of my pre-emergent barrier? No, as a general rule, you don't scalp pre-emergent. You don't scalp cool season grasses. You don't scalp them like you do Bermuda. As far as you're scalping, messing with the pre-emergent barrier, no, not really. I mean, I'm not a fan of scalping all the way down to the dirt. So if you're scalping to 1/2 an inch, 1/4 of an inch, to where you're not really getting into the dirt, that's not going to it's not going to hurt your pre-emergent. It's not going to negatively affect how well your pre-emergent works. If you went out and you ran like a tiller on the lawn, that could do it. If you went out and verticut, deeply, that could disrupt the barrier. But scalping is not going to really materially affect your pre-emergent. And for cool season grass, I would not do that. If you guys know Devin, he's the greenskeeper out of Colorado Springs. He actually got this question the last time he was on, and he's very clearly said, nope, do not scalp cool season grass. There's you want to turf rake it, you want to turf rake it, that's fine. You want to lower the height of cut because you're trying to get it down to, you want to lower it, that's fine. But as far as scalping it, he said hard no is what he gave on that. So no, don't do that. And again, even for cool season, just to be clear, for warm season grass, it's not strictly necessary. Like, you don't have to scalp Bermuda or zoysia. You really don't have to. Really, the benefit of doing it is it gives the lawn a nice reset. It does speed up how quickly the lawn greens up. And if you're someone that doesn't have the ability to verticut or turf rake your lawn, you're cleaning a lot of that old debris out, right? So you're giving the lawn like a fresh start to begin the season. So there's a lot of benefits to doing it, but it's not strictly necessary. There's the majority of people don't scalp their lawns, and their lawns can look pretty good. But if you want a faster green up and just give the lawn a good beginning, good starting off point for the season, then a scalping is not a bad idea. But really, that's for Bermuda and zoysia. I really wouldn't do that on a cool season lawn. Jason Harrison says the trap deserves the holographic sticker. I thought about that, Jason. I did. I thought about it. I got one here, but it won't really fit. I mean, you look at the holographic sticker. I'm not sure where I would get that on there. See, if I look here, there's not really a spot on here to put one. It won't fit. I guess I could get a smaller one, a smaller holographic sticker. But there's not really anywhere to put it on this guy. So that's why I got this one. I cut it down. I guess I could get some of these made up as holographic. That might work. But yeah, I got this one. It got its stripe, man. Think about it. I mean, you know how long it took them. I mean, I'm trying to think. I don't even have, actually, I do have a sticker on the True Cut, but I mean, this guy with just one kill earned its stripe. Like, my mowers have got to work for a long time before they get a sticker. You know what I mean? They don't get this kind of recognition right away. But this has been around. I've owned this for 2 or 3 days now, and it's already gotten the love. So I mean, we don't need to make it feel too good. It's already in rare territory as far as a piece of lawn equipment that's gotten stickered this quickly. So even though it's not holographic, it can't be complaining too much. It's getting more love than the mowers do. More recognition than that. All right, so next up is Jacob Madrid. He said, that's a W for the stripe action gang. It is, man. Again, we didn't go looking for it. We didn't ask for it, but and again, I did give it every opportunity. What set me off? Well, I mean, all of it set me off, but really made my blood boil is I'm leaving and I'm looking over, I'm watching this little dirt hill grow as it's chasing. You see all these earthworms just running for dear life. You've never seen such a pile of earthworms on the front of a moving mound trying to get away. And I was like, okay, all right. And plus it was getting close. It was the midweek. I said, well, I got the live stream this weekend. I can't show up we can't have the live stream this week and then not having addressed this problem. And I got a repped up hole. So all of those things brought together, drastic times call for drastic measures. McNasty Motorsports is up next. He says, Ron, smoked, mole, or baked? Also, congrats. The Golf Course Salon, Henry sticker, signature edition, limited edition, premium platinum, and Smoker Trap 5000. Yeah, man, that's what it is, right? I just stickered it, but yeah, I really do like that trap because it's easy to use and it does a good job. It did a good job. It's a good tool. It's like you know what that mole trap is like? It's the rotary scissors of traps. It's the rotary scissors of mold extinction, of getting rid of them, because it's one of those pieces of equipment that for the most part, it's going to be sitting in the garage, maybe in this case for years and years and years. But whenever it gets a call, you ever watch some of those movies where you have like the hitman, he's just sitting, or the guy that's like in Bourne Identity, if you ever watch the Bourne series, the guy's just sitting in bed, just sleeping, and he's got his gun on the side, he's got his phone right next to him, he's just waiting for the call. Like, it could be a week, could be months, could be years, just waiting for the call. And when he gets the call, he's activated. And he is like a scalpel, a precision piece of equipment that is designed to do one thing and do it well. And that's what this thing is. It's just like that. It's like rotary scissors. You don't need them all the time, but what it's designed to do, does a good job. Does a good job. I am a fan. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Actually, you know what? You know what? On that note, while I take normally whenever I have a drink of my lemonade, I put some music on, but I'm gonna have some of my lemonade and you guys can hear it. This is why it's awesome. Oh, music to my ears. One more time. Let's go. Run it back. Oh, it's like a symphony. Third time's a charm. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. But yeah, it's for what it's designed to do. Great job. Great piece of equipment. Good job to the company that engineered it. Good job. All right, next up is Larry. He says, the moles are attracted to your very healthy lawn. That's true, because I've got plenty of earthworms. I mean, Larry, as the little mound was moving, you're watching like, 4 or 5 earthworms like near the surface, like trying to run away. And this thing's just it's chasing, like actively chasing him. And if you look, man, at Cuz, he was on a bulk. He was doing, look at him. He's a big boy. That's a big boy compared to what we were dealing with last year, which was not that small. I mean, not that big. I mean, look at I've got pretty big hands. I mean, he was living his best life. He was eating well. He was eating well. He was at the buffet doing really well. And well, he didn't know when to call it quits, right? He didn't know when to push away from the table and go somewhere else. He just want to keep eating and eating and eating, and luck ran out. All right. Next is Jared. He's back. He says, Ron, when I used to do industrial food pest control, believe it or not, I once rid a perimeter of 63 plus voles. One dead vole, one dead mole won't hurt me. Yeah, there you go. Well, I don't want that. I don't want to have that many of them. I mean, one is enough. I don't need that kind of kill count. I just prefer them to stay away. I prefer them to not even come around, but apparently it's going to be a thing. Paul Dennis, he says, you're tired. You tried your best to be nice. I like how you're happy with the result, like me with rats in my yard. Yeah, I mean, because it's just, I don't even feel remotely bad about it. Like, I mean, anyone that here's the thing. I love animals, love cats, love dogs, love animals. But like when here's the thing. Here's the thing that I'll say this. Just we'll go off. Well, it's December. We're not talking about grass anyways. We can go here. Like people that will get up that will send me hate mail because I'm gonna get it. They'll say, "Oh, you killed the poor little mole." Are the same people that use insecticides in their house. They'll step on a roach. They'll step on ants. They don't want those guys around. They don't want spiders around. Right? Those also matters too. So for me, the mole is also like a varmint, like an irritant that I just don't want in my lawn. I feel like not an inch of my body is upset that mole is gone. Like he would get killed every day and twice on Sunday. If they come back, it's gonna happen again. I'm not even like, just play with me. See what happens. I don't feel the least bit bad about it because he asked for it. I didn't go looking for him. He came here. So play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Next up, Gary Keller Jr. He says, happy Friday, Ron. Just getting prepared for 2024. I jumped on the PGR bandwagon. Nice. I like it. When is the best time to apply for my cool season grass next year? Great question, Gary. So as far as growth regulator, I'm a fan of getting it into the grass once it's, your cool season grass starts growing, when you're out there mowing it, April-ish time frame, you can start introducing growth regulator to the grass. So that's what I do for my Bermuda lawn. You don't have to go out at the full rate right away. You can start like half rate and then ramp up over a couple of applications to the full rate. So by the time you're in May, like say by mid-May, your full rate of growth regulator that's correct for your particular grass type. So April is when I would start, and then start low and then ramp up to the rate that you're going to use on your lawn. I've got a blog post on growth regulator, and it talks about using the split application technique that I like to use. So I'll link that here in the chat for you. But I'd say April is when I would start looking into doing that. Great question. And as far as where you can find that, if you go to resources and then blog, and hey guys, new blog today. Which lawn weeds have white flowers? So I've gotten questions from folks saying, "Hey man, so if I've got this purple flower in my lawn, this purple weed in my lawn. Which one is it?" Right? It's probably henbit, but say I've got this one in my lawn. What is it? So I'm doing a series on a couple of different weeds, of different white weeds, yellow weeds, purple weeds because those are the most common ones. So this is the first one that got released yesterday. Which weeds have white flowers? So you can go through here and you can, one, it'll tell you how to identify it and then ways to control it using for cool season and warm season grass types. Okay, but back to what I was telling you about before, Gary, on growth regulator. Let me find that. I think it's going to be on page 3. Nope, still on page 2. Cool. How plant growth regulator or regulation can make your lawn thicker and greener. So what this talks about is all the benefits to growth regulator, how they work, some videos, some of my YouTube videos that I've embedded in here to help you that shows how I like to use them. And then as far as the section that I think is definitely worth considering, is on how to avoid tip burn, which really happens whenever if you spray growth regulator. Initially, it typically only happens the first time you spray it in the season. If you spray it at higher rates at the beginning of the season, you can get some temporary yellowing. The way to get around that is to simply spray at lower rates. And instead of spraying once per month, which is what the label calls for, every 3 to 4 weeks, spray it every 2 weeks. So then the question you're going to ask is, well, if I spray it every 2 weeks, what rate should I be using? Well, I'm glad you asked. So depending on your grass type, I have this short, like a chart table list of rates that would be the half rate for various grass types. So these are the rates that you would use if you're spraying it every 2 weeks on your lawn. So I'll link this this blog post for you in the chat, Gary. So in addition to you, planning to start in April, if you read through this, you'll be in good shape. You'll be good to go, and we'll put you in a good spot as far as getting ready for the 2024 season. Gary Kellett Jr. There you are, and PGR blog. Boom. All right. Two Trilla says, "Happy Friday, Ron and Sharp Action Gang." Thanks, Two Trilla. The Trilla from Manila. C Hill says, "All rise, Judge Smokey has spoken." Hashtag gavel. 1 rep. That's all it took, man. Was 1 rep. It was did a good job. It's a good, man. You know what it is? There's nothing like a well-designed tool that works well. There's nothing like that. I mean, there's nothing like a tool that does what it's designed to do very well. And this guy, the Judge Golf Course Lawn Edition now, I am a fan. And it's a satisfying thing to hear that click. Hear that click. Hear that click. Some people put on like water running in the background. Some people like have like white noise, like air conditioner running. Like I could just put that on a loop next to my bed. Put it on my phone on a loop next to my bed as I go to sleep. Sleep like a baby. Alexander Lee's up next. He says, "Please excuse my absence and not having your back during the multi." It's okay, man. I get it. It's fine. You were off doing other things. I completely understand. Alex, it's okay. We got it done. And now we got equipment. We got weaponry now. So before, we had to get out there and bring hoses out and everything. Here's the thing. Going forward now, I see no need for us to to ramp this up. I think that going forward, there's already been 2 invasions. We've gone about it several ways. The first time when you personally administered it, very personal, as like a very 1-to-1 as far as giving judgment. This time we use some weaponry. So going forward, I just don't see, there's no reason for us to do the flooding or the smoke bombs or stab down the tunnel. We're just going to go straight to the judge. Like if it happens, they show up again, the judge is going to come out. They're going to get that click, 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 click. And that's going to be it. It's going to be gone. So any moles that are watching, you've been warned. There's not going to be any warning shots. It's going to be straight center mast. Center mast. We're going. That's what you're going to get. All right. Next up is Frederick Hemker says, "Ron, use your link. I'm going mole hunting too." I appreciate that, Frederick. It's a great tool, man. It's easy to use. So the only thing I would tell you is to get the best result, if you have the active tunnel. So I don't have say like this, like my hands are the active tunnel. This is a mound, right? Where he's like he or she is burrowing. Like you're going to want to put the blades, the scissors down right in the center of that. And then just, so say between my hands or the tunnel, you're going to insert this like that. And then simply get this, push down until this bar is like flat with the ground. It's like resting on the surface. And then just step on this. It's going to click. And then it's armed. And then whenever they go by again, there's a pressure pad that's very sensitive. When they touch that, it's going to set the trap off, and you'll you'll get rid of the problem. Other thing I would say is wear gloves whenever you use it or when you're putting it in, just to reduce the likelihood of you transferring your scent to the trap, which could spook the mole, make it take longer for the trap to work. So you want to identify an active mole track, active tunnel that they're using. If it's one that if you've had a lot of moles in your lawn for a period of time, that's like identifying that one they're actively using is going to be really important. A way you can do that is if you see like a track, you can simply walk in the lawn and step on it, like mash it down, because that deters them. It doesn't really deter them. They just go through and they just burrow through it again. So if you stamp it down and then you see the next day or 2 days later that it's up again, like they're still using that, that tells you that's where you want to put the trap in. So wear your gloves, set it in there, arm it, and wait. And you'll get that oh so satisfying click. Next up, we have Caca Volante. He says, hello, all good. I'm Carlos from the American Green in Brazil. Congrats on all your hard work. I appreciate that, Carlos. Hopefully you're doing well. Next up is Oliver Rittam. Check here on the Instagram. We don't have anyone here. Nope. Oliver Rittam. He says, good evening, Ron and gang. Late to the party tonight. Glad you handled the mole problem. I got rabbits to deal with in my area. Yeah. So for rabbits, I had there's like some junipers that the rabbits like to hang out in. And for a while last year, I had rabbits that were in the shrubs that are, so you guys for watching my videos, the patios on the back, right? And to the right of the patio, there's like 3 big shrubs that are there. What I found is the rabbits like to hang out in there because if the shrubs get really thick and where they can hide, they'll stay there. So if you can reduce or you can thin out shrubs or not give them areas where there's like ground cover where they can hide or feel safe, that can deter them to go, at least to move a bit further away. So in my case, they're no longer hanging out in my shrubs and they're in the junipers in my neighbor's lawn. So that helped a little bit. But yeah, I get it. I get it that rabbits are no fun too. They're not as bad as moles though. Not as bad as moles. Moles are, I would argue, are far worse than rabbits. And you kind of feel bad. You would feel bad like snapping up bugs. Bugs, if you had to do that to him, you'd feel I mean, again, I've not had a ton of damage from rabbits, so maybe I just haven't lived your life to know the damage that rabbits can cause. But I'd feel a little bit bad about bugs meeting an untimely end. But Marquise, not at all. Not at all. Twice on Sunday. Lance F is up next. He says, I need your thoughts. I have a 7-blade manual push mower now. I mow every 2 days or every day, depending on how fast the grass grows. I like it. Good job. Good job, Lance. I dig it. The KBG is maintained at 3/4 of an inch. Thinking of buying a Hudson Star. It depends, man. I mean, if you really like manual reel mowing, like manual push reel mowers, I mean, the Hudson Star, I've never used one myself, but people that have them seem to really like them. For what it is, it's a bit pricey, right? I think they're like $2,000 last time I looked. But when I look at the cut quality, at least from what I see in the videos, it also looks quite good as well too. So if you're someone that you have a smaller lawn or you just want to stay just Lance powered, you're not having to deal with batteries or gas or anything like that, then you'd be hard pressed to do better than that. You know what I mean? Like it's like a greens type push reel mower. That's the way to look at it. So it's definitely going to be a step up from your 7-blade now. It's just the difference of the cost difference from like $150 mower, which you have now, to a $2,000 manual push reel mower. That's hard for most people to get to. So it just depends on you. You might be the person where that makes a lot of sense. Especially if you have a smaller property, it is going to cut better than what you got now. But it's just, is it 10 times better is the question. Only really you can answer that. But if you wanted to stay strictly gas free, battery free, just a manual reel mower, manual push reel mower, then and you want the best, you want the Cadillac, that's going to be the one to get. So hope that helps, sir. Again, I don't have one. I've never even tried one out to see how they do. But again, I've seen, who has one? What's his name? The green kind of guy. John Perry, I think, has one. John Perry has one. You can look at his channel. He's got some content on the Hudson Star. He seemed to like it from what I could tell. So yeah, look at him. Just do some research and see what people are saying about them as far as how they are from a maintenance standpoint, that kind of thing. Again, looking from what I've seen, it appears to cut really well. I just don't know over the long term how well they hold up and that kind of thing. So you just have to do some research to be able to determine if it's the right fit for you. Gary Kelly Jr. says, "Hey Ron, you plan on introducing more Lebanon granular products?" Not at this time. I mean, I don't know. I like where we are right now as far as the various options. I mean, if you look what as far as fertilizer options from Lebanon, we've got Humic Max, we've got the Complete, we've got a Stress. So we have a high potassium fertilizer. We have like a balanced type fertilizer that can be used for amending soils that are phosphorus deficient and also are good for new establishments. So if you're doing a seeding project, you're putting down new sod, it's like a good starter fertilizer. And then you got Humic Max, right? Which is it's like a fertilizer and biostimulant all in one. So I really like this. I mean, this fits the bill for what most people really would want on their need for their lawn care programs. If there's something you want to see, Gary, shoot me an email, send me an email. I'll take a look at it and I can see what I can make happen. But I'm pretty happy with where we are as far as granular fertilizers on the store right now. I don't know that adding another one that's a slightly different formulation is really going to do a whole lot. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, feel free to send me an email what your thoughts are if you want, and I will I'll take a look at it. Next up is Sean Murphy. He says, "Happy Friday, Ron. Another great live stream. Keep up the hard work." I'll do my best, man. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you taking the time to watch. All right, Stephen Toast Thompson says, "What do you think about the new secret features on the Revolution 26? New secret features? You mean some of the ones that you guys haven't seen yet? I think you're gonna like them. I think you're gonna like them. I mean, they're small refinements that's gonna make the mower cut better. It's going to help. I can't really talk about it, but it's going to be. I don't think anyone is going to be upset about the other additions that they're making to the mowers. I think you're gonna like it. It's going to be some of the stuff are things you've seen on other mowers, but on other mowers that cost quite a bit more than what the Revolution 26 does. So that's another thing. And again, for the money, for what it costs, I think that mower now is $2,900 thereabouts, $2,900. It's under $3,000. For under $3,000, you'd be hard pressed to do better. It's a great piece of equipment. Like I liked how it cut. Alex used it. He liked how it cut. And again, the version that you guys are getting is even better than the one that we had access to in the video. T1000 says, "Ron is a real T1000. Man, listen, when it comes to moles, I do not play. I don't care. I just They asked for it. They want that smoke. I told you guys last week. I said he wants that smoke. He's gonna get it. He's gonna get it. Get it. Here's the thing, guys. What am I supposed to do? Just let nature run its course. Let the lawn. And here's the thing. He didn't even pick. Well, he did the back lawn. That would be. I can't even. You know how you like your kids. I mean, people say they love their kids equally. Like I like the back lawn and the front lawn. They're both. I love them both in their own special way. But the back lawn is like very special to me. I mean, all I can say is you better not ever come again on the back lawn. That's not going to be. I don't know what I would do then. I'd go out and buy a bunch more traps just to. Yeah, but the front thing is to go back to what I'm saying. What am I supposed to do? Like if I just let it just run its course, let it just have all the fun on the front lawn, have it like turn the entire front lawn into a construction site. That's just not. It's an eyesore. One of the neighbors, well, not my neighbor, but like when you pull in the neighborhood, my neighborhood, like one of the houses on, you guys know where I live, but anyway, one of the homes in this neighborhood, like last year, it wasn't this time of year, it was like in February timeframe. The moles absolutely crushed that lawn, like just left unchecked. I think they eventually hired a service to come in and get rid of them, but they literally were carving. They were like, it was like a NASCAR track. I mean, they were literally, there's ovals within ovals. I mean, they were absolutely just all over the place. And it kind of makes your skin crawl the way it makes the lawn look. It's gross. It's kind of like, you know how some people look at like whenever a Bermuda lawn is going into dormancy and it kind of creates like almost like a brain pattern or like a tiger pattern. Like some people, when they look at that, it visually creates like a reaction in you, like kind of makes your skin crawl. That's what mole tracks do to me. I really don't like what they do to the lawn. It's like gross looking. So that's why I get so, can't tell, I'm a little bit passionate about not having them in my grass. So next up we have Larry. He says, "Why only 8 likes? Get to clicking." Yeah, we got more than that, Larry. They've stepped it up. We are doing better. We got the likes are where they should be. I like it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate that. Appreciate all the love and support. And then next up is Jared George. Says, "What's the downside of applying pre-emergent too early? Why is that window so important? What did I apply a pre-emergent to my Bermuda and my dad's cool season lawn at the same time?" Thanks, Ron. Yeah, so what the downside of applying it too early, like as far as the period of control, prodiamine will control weeds in your lawn for 3 to 4 months, depending on temperature and other conditions. So if you applied prodiamine, let's say right now, and you said, I'm going to do my spring pre-emergent now, it's not going to last long enough to where you're going to get good control against, like, say, crabgrass and spurge. So you do want to be reasonably correct around the time as far as when you apply the product. When I say applying it a bit too early, for the springtime, you want to have pre-emergent in the soil before the average soil temps, like say 5-day average soil temps, are in the mid 50s, because that's when crabgrass begins to germinate. So if you're, a week or two earlier than that, that's going to be just fine. If your average soil temps are in the high 40s, low 50s, perfect time to get your pre-emergent out. Like a little bit early is fine. What I would not do is apply your spring pre-emergent now, because even if conditions were correct, which they're not, you're not gonna have the reach. It's not gonna stay in the soil. It's not gonna work for long enough to control weeds that tend to germinate when soil temperatures become warmer. So you have to be somewhat sensible around timing, but a bit early is not gonna hurt anything. And as far as your dad's lawn and your lawn, it's the same thing. So really, it's 55 degrees. Whenever the average soil temperatures are in the mid 50s, you want to get your pre-emergent down prior to that. So when the average 5-day is like 48, 49, 51, I would get your pre-emergent out. Get it a bit early, and that's going to put you in a good spot to where when the average hits the mid 50s and going warmer, you're already going to have that barrier in the soil. It's going to help prevent weeds from germinating. So hope that helps, Jared. You and your dad, the same rule applies when it comes to cool season grass and warm season grass. It's still the most accurate way is based on soil temperature. So before mid 50s in the spring and like low 70s trending cooler in the fall, because Poanua starts to rear its ugly head like in the mid 60s is when it starts to it can begin germinating as early as then. So low 70s trending cooler is when I would get your pre-emergent out. So if you're talking about a time frame that's very general, you could say for the spring, February, March. I tend to lean more towards the February time frame. I've done it as early as like the last week, like the first week of February, last week of January. I've done that before with great results. And then as far as your fall pre-emergent, late August, early September is when I like to get my fall pre-emergent out. So hope that helps, sir. Next is Lance F. He says, Vincent and Jules. Vincent and Jules, Ron and Alex from Pulp Fiction Assassins. Rum shots all around. Yeah, man. Pulp Fiction is one of the best. That's an awesome movie. Not everyone likes Quentin Tarantino and stuff, but I think, well, it's a classic. It's a classic. You can't go wrong with Pulp Fiction. It's a great movie. It's a great movie. I didn't do the Jules scene though. When he goes quotes the verse. I didn't do all that. I didn't do all that whenever it went down. I guess we could have done that like in the first mole extermination video, but yeah, we just didn't think about it at the time. All right, next up is Larry. So just check my soil temperature. Surprisingly, it's 57 degrees, so my seed should germinate. Yes, again, give it a shot. It's the only thing that can go wrong, Larry, is it not germinate. You're not going to hurt anything by giving it a go. So that I would say, if you want to, give it a shot, and if it germinates, it germinates. If it doesn't, it doesn't. No big deal. You'll be just fine with it. Cool. Yeah. You'll be just fine. I would go for it since you're kind of jonesing to do it, and it sounds like your soil temps are 50s, 60s. Give it a shot. Two Trillo says, I bet the earthworms have a statue holding the Claptrap 5000 edition. Yeah, you know what I should do? Go take it out and put it out in the lawn. Like, stick it out in the lawn. You see all the earthworms, they'll go up, they'll congregate around it and be like, we're not worthy. Thank you, our savior. they'll you're right. They might like create a statue underground to the Claptrap 5000 because it did the business. I'm telling you, literally, you'll watch them. You never see it. You can literally see. You've never seen that many earthworms like frantically moving, like and you can tell they're being chased. Like they know they're being chased by this mole. You know what I mean? And they're running for dear life. So earthworms, got your back. Got you. I'm your man. What you can't do. I am the hero that you don't deserve, but you need. That's me. I got you. Don't you worry about it. Mole comes around, call me. Call me. I'll bring the judge and we'll take care of it. You guys will be just fine. You guys just keep doing your thing, do the natural aeration, keep my soil good. Look, do what you do to keep the grass looking good, and I will do what I do to keep you guys safe. So we have an understanding. All right, Gary Kellett is up next. He says, Ron, my neighbors and I are planning on purchasing a Celiprin SC. Now, if we spray, is it just one treatment per yard, or should we do two treatments? Just trying to get prepared for 2024. So you can, in years past, I've done a single application in April, and I've called it good. This past year, I did an application in the spring and fall, and that is what I would recommend going forward, Gary. If you can do an application, do one in April, because that's going to get you, that's the right time to interrupt the grub life cycle to try and keep them from doing damage to your turf. And then in the fall, if you have issues with sod webworms or armyworms, that's going to take care of that. So I would say April and August are a good time frame as far as getting your Celiprin apps out. So 2 times per year, and you'll be in good shape. So good stuff. And you say, by the way, I have the Flow Zone sprayer. Great sprayer, man. I'll tell you, in my opinion, the 2 sprayers to get, you either get the Flow Zone or you get the Yard Mastery. Either one of those. They're both excellent sprayers. I don't know what they changed in the Cyclone, the newest version of the Flow Zone, so I can't say for sure. But the big thing, reason why I like the Yard Mastery and partly why we carry it is that it comes with everything you need. You have the sprayer, it comes with all the attachments, comes with the quick detach, it comes with everything you need to be able to spray soil-based products and foliar products and get a great result. Cool beans. Well, guys, gals, I think that is pretty much it. We have no other questions. You guys have learned the tale of Marquise. I took you through the entire story arc of, how I was wronged, how the lawn was wronged, how the earthworms are being terrorized. I mean, there's a lot of people that mole was going after. The lawn, the earthworms, me. I mean, we were suffering. We were suffering. And then you guys got to hear the entire story, everything I did to give it the opportunity to make a different decision. It decided to not make that decision. And you saw how we ended up. We had to clap. Had to put the judge on him. So that happened. So on that note, guys, gals, we will cue the outro music. Hope you guys are, if it will start, we'll see here. Maybe not. You know what? We can start it another way. I have the technology. I have the technology. We can do it another way. I can just play it through my speakers. How about that? We can do it like this. Well, guys, gals, as always, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me in the live stream. Appreciate it. If you are in need of soil test kits, check out the Golf Course Lawn Store. If you're looking for Celiprin, Essential G, anything for your lawn care needs, we've got you covered at the Golf Course Lawn Store. And also, every week be sure to check in for the new blog content. We try to get new blog out every week so you guys have something interesting to read to help you get the best possible lawn. Thank you guys so much for coming and hang out with me. I know it's a slow time of year, and I really do appreciate the support. It really means a lot that you still come and show up, regardless of it being a slow time of year. I will see you guys all next week. Have an amazing weekend. I wish you a mole-free lawn. Take care.